This video, I'm going to be showing you how to use weakness policy the right way in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now for this video, I'll be covering singles formats done with Smogon. Not very knowledgeable on doubles, but I'll briefly explain a couple double strategies that involve weakness policy too. First off, what is weakness policy? It's an item that doubles your attack and special attack when your Pokemon is damaged by a super effective move. This allows for relatively free sweeps if you play your cards right. By the way, only a small percent of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. There may be more strategy videos on the way. Now that we know what weakness policy is, what are the best ways to use it? The best ways to use weakness policy are in combination with a stat boosting move, combination with a damage reducing ability, or even both. The Pokemon I'll be covering in this video are Dragonite, Sceptile, Mew, Latias, Necrozma, Corviknight, and the Necrozma Dusk Mane for any Ubers players. Reflect and Light Screen or Auroraville are amazing moves to use in combination with your weakness policy sweepers. Gives your Pokemon extra tankiness, which is perfect for letting them activate a weakness policy without just fainting. Anyways, it's time to start talking about the first Pokemon here, Dragonite. Now, Dragonite is just about the most common weakness policy sweeper. It's one of the first that come to your mind when you think of a weakness policy sweeper, and that's because of its ability Multi-Scale. Multi-Scale halves the damage that you take when your Dragonite is at full HP, and if you remove Stealth Rock from the field, more often than not, Dragonite will be at full HP. Dragonite is weak to a few common offensive types, such as Rock and Dragon, which allows for it to activate its weakness policy pretty often. Dual Wing Beat and Earthquake have pretty solid coverage. You're missing out on Pokemon like Skarmory or Corviknight, but you should be trying to eliminate those Pokemon before you initiate your sweep in the first place. You have Roost and Dragon Dance. Roost allowing you to heal back up to your multi-scale with full HP, and it can also weaken ice moves, which will allow your weakness policy to activate more reliably. Dragon Dance will boost your attack and speed, which will make up for the lack of attack investment on this moveset. I invested entirely in HP and speed because Dragonite has 134 attack. Now this is the first example of using weakness policy in tandem with a damage reducing ability with multi-scale in this case. Next up, we've got Sceptile, a pretty cool weakness policy user using Unburden this time to give you extra speed. It's got Leaf Blade, Acrobatics, Drain Punch, and Swords Dance, and its speed investment allows it to be faster than a Sand Rush Excadrill when it's in sand, giving you a little bit of extra bulk to work with so that you can use your weakness policy more reliably. Acrobatics becomes 110 power when your weakness policy is no longer present, which is just amazing for hitting other grass types and just being a strong move in general. Leaf Blade and Drain Punch work really well together, Drain Punch being able to hit steel types that would otherwise wall Sceptile. So overall, this is a pretty well-rounded moveset. Essentially, your plan here is to go for Swords Dance to get your +2, Weakness Policy to get another +2, and then your Unburden will also activate, giving you +2 into your speed stat. And then you use Drain Punch for recovery, and Acrobatics and Leaf Blade for just strong moves. Sceptile is relatively frail, so you do want to have screen support for Reflect, Light Screen, or Auroraville. You want to have that support available for Sceptile because sometimes it might just faint, even with that 148 HP. Next up, we've got Mew with Weakness Policy, Sword Power, Cosmic Power, Taunt, and Soft Boiled. This allows Mew to take advantage of the very common choice specs Dragapult right now. I've seen this used on screens teams where you go for a Cosmic Power as their Dragapult switches in. It goes for a Shuttle Ball, a choice spec Shuttle Ball, and you have a Light Screen up. You go for Cosmic Power, you're probably going to take like 40%, and then you store power and you kill the Dragapult or you make it switch. Taunt allows you to prevent Pokemon from using Haze, Toxic, recovery moves like your Blissey, and Blissey is completely shut down by this. There's nothing a Blissey can do because he just taunted. But this is an example of boosting your defenses to make your Pokemon stronger with weakness policy. There are a lot of common moves such as Turn or Knockoff that might not be used as a stab move on a Pokemon. It might just be used as a utility move, and Mew can really easily abuse those Pokemon to set up its Cosmic Power and go for a sweep. Next up, we have Latias using Calm Mind, Aura Sphere, Stored Power, and Roost. Somewhat similar to Mew in this instance, except you're using Calm Mind instead of Cosmic Power. Quite a bit faster with Latias, so this allows it to be a little bit more of a reliable sweeper, and you have access to Aura Sphere to abuse your extra special attack, and you can catch Pokemon such as Heatran, Tyranitar, and Ferrothorn off guard, and they might be thinking that they completely wall you. Because of Latias' natural bulk, similarly to Mew, you can be using this to set up on U-turns or knockoffs, And since you're naturally fast, and a lot of Pokemon aren't too fast in this generation, Latias can be really easily set up for a sweep in the late game if you've eliminated faster Pokemon such as a Zeraora or a Dragapult that might be able to revenge kill you with a Draco Meteor or knockoff respectively. One problem with this moveset is that you don't have a method of boosting your defense unlike Mew using Cosmic Power, so physical attacks will still be pretty potent and they might be able to take out your Latias if they have a faster Pokemon, like I said, a Zeraora or even a Choice Scarf Landorus. Next up, we've got Necrozma, another example of using a damage reducing ability with Prism Armor, and this ability right here, your Pokemon receives 3 force damage from super effective attacks, which just works beautifully with Weakness Policy, and you'll see that this Psychic typing right here is just amazing with Weakness Policy. As I explained, it helps really well with abusing all of these utility moves such as U-Turn and Knockoff, and your Necrozma, weakening those super effective moves just means you're probably going to be taking 20% from like a Landorus Therian's U-Turn. It's not going to be doing a lot of damage at all. You're going to autotomize to double your speed, Short Power, Heat Wave, and Moonlight. Wave obviously being able to land on 2 steel types. Earth Power is a very solid alternative as well, being able to hit Tyranitar, Heatran, and your Store Power still might be able to melt through a few steel types here and there. An alternative move over Moonlight would be Calm Mind if you wanted to further boost your special attack, in case you feel like Autotomize and then +2 special attack and +2 attack, it's not enough to make your Store Power strong. You've got a bit of an interesting EV spread here, it's just customized. Your 48 defense gives you a jump point in defense. Your 72 speed allows you to be faster than the Zeraora after your Autotomize, and then the rest is just poured into your special defense. Notice that there is a second Necrozma set here, Dragon Dance with Weakness Policy. A different take on it, similar to your Dragon Dance Dragonite, using the ability to soften up hits and just go for a Dragon Dance sweep. Photon Geyser is a physical attack if your physical attack is higher, so you have Photon Geyser, Earthquake, Knockoff, and Dragon Dance. Earthquake being able to hit the steel types, and Knockoff being able to hit opposing psychic type Pokemon such as a Slowbro, a Mew, so on and so forth. This set is a little bit inferior to the Autotomized special set in my opinion. I think that this will have less opportunities to win, and that is mainly because the Necrozma really needs to use 2 Dragon Dances to get going. There's not too many options for a physical Necrozma, but I felt that it was worth mentioning this as a pretty cool alternative to a special attacker set. Next up, we've got Weakness Policy Corviknight, a moveset that I featured in this video where I used Fake Stall to trick my opponents. We've got Agility, Bulk Up, Power Trip, and Roost with Mirror Armor as the ability to bounce back Intimidates. This Pokemon is just, it was really amazing in that video, and it really opened my eyes to Weakness Policy Corviknight. It's weak to a good handful of types that are popular offensively, such as Fire and Electric, and what Corviknight can do is use its really high natural bulk to set up an agility on those Pokemon that might be using weaker moves, and you go for a bulk up, and at that point it's really difficult to stop. There aren't many Pokemon that are able to stop this because Pokemon a lot of people are using right now as their physical defensive Pokemon are like a Landorus, a Garchomp, sometimes a Hippowdon, a Slowbro, and either they can't touch this and they're free setup, or they die to Power Trip after Weakness Policy and bulk up. So with Hippowdon's case, it doesn't use Whirlwind at the moment. It uses Earthquake, Slack Off, Stealth Rock, and Toxic. That literally just can't touch Corviknight. Garchomp very rarely uses Roar or Dragon Tail. Right now it's really using Earthquake, Rest, Toxic, and Stealth Rock. Landorus opts for like Earthquake, U-Turn, Stealth Rock, Toxic, or Knockoff, and that really can't touch this either. Even if it knocks off your Weakness Policy, this is free agility and bulk ups, and your Mirror Armor will bounce back and Intimidate, so you take even less damage from the Landorus. You can't even drop your attack step. And Power Trip is like a physical stored power, but it's a dark type move, so there's no immunities to it, and it just becomes ridiculously powerful. You don't even need to invest in attack, you just invest purely into your bulk, so you take as many hits as physically possible. And lastly, for the single strategies and for the Ubers players, we've got Necrozma Desk Main, Weakness Policy alongside Prism Armor, familiar ability with the previous Necrozma, Sunsteel Strike, Earthquake, Dragon Dance, and Stone Edge. Stone Edge being able to hit Pokemon such as a Veltal, but namely OO. Sunsteel Strike ignores abilities like Necrozma's Photon Geyser. This allows you to hit through Pokemon's multi-scales like a Lugia, and you probably are not going to kill it, you're going to get Whirlwinded out. Weakness Policy with Necrozma Desk Main is honestly ridiculous. If you play in a format that allows Dynamax, this Pokemon becomes even crazier because then you're increasing its bulk non-stop with Sunsteel Strike and Earthquake. Sunsteel Strike turning into Max Steel Spike, boosting your defense. Earthquake turning into Max Quake, boosting your special defense. With Prism Armor, the Dynamax doubling your HP, this Pokemon becomes virtually unkillable. and it just becomes KO machine. 157 attack with Dragonite's weakness policy is nothing to laugh at. You really do not need to invest into your HP with this one because you don't have healing, and a lot of Pokemon in Ubers are relatively bulky, so you just want to be as strong as possible so you knock out as many Pokemon as possible. And lastly, for any doubles players, this is about the most common strategy you see with weakness policy. You have a weakness policy Pokemon such as a Calyrex Shadow Rider in this example, and you use a fling Pokemon that will either fling is something like a Salac Berry or a Key Berry or anything like that. It'll activate weakness policy. It won't be very strong because you're just going to Dynamax at the same time, and at that point your Pokemon becomes practically unkillable, especially when used with a very powerful Pokemon like Calyrex. Now Calyrex is just like an example Pokemon. If you're not playing a tier that allows legendaries like this, then you can just use virtually any ghost or psychic type Pokemon that will easily take a fling. You can give the Salac Berry, and at that point your Pokemon just becomes unstoppable, especially when you're using things like Follow Me, Ally Switch, and whatever to protect that Pokemon after. It kind of gets ridiculous, and it's about the most common double strategy using weakness policy. So that's the end of the video. This is how you use weakness policy in Pokemon Sword and Shield.